Hey guys! So Tesla and SpaceX CEO Elon Musk is upping the stake on its proposed showdown with Russian leader Vladimir Putin over Ukraine, telling the Russian president he could bring his bear to the fight between the two. Musk challenged Putin to single combat on March the 14th, with the stakes being Ukraine. He was swiftly rebuked by Russian space chief Dmitry Rogozin, who posted a quote from Russian poet Alexander Pushkin, which read, "You little devil are still young, too weak to compete with me. It would only be a waste of time. Overtake my brother first." In response to Rogozin's tweet, Musk appeared to sidestep the retort, posting a tweet on March 15th that read, "I see you're a tough negotiator. Okay, you can have 10% more pay-per-view money." Now you might be wondering what all this means. So let's find out. So Musk's Twitter retort to Rogozin included a composite image of a shirtless Putin riding a bear, next to what appeared to be an image of Musk with a Boring Company flamethrower, under the words, "Choose your fighter." In another tweet, Musk continued by saying that President Putin can even bring his bear. It's not clear if Putin owns a bear, but the Russian leader has debunked claims that he's ever ridden one. Musk then suggested that he and Rogozin form a book club, tweeting a quote from Fyodor Dostoevsky's novel The Idiot at the Russian space chief. After throwing down the challenge with Putin, Chechen warlord Ramzan Kadyrov mocked Musk. Kadyrov called Musk Ilana and claimed that Musk would get destroyed in the matchup with Putin. Responding to Kadyrov, Musk doubled down on his challenge to fight the Russian leader. Musk tweeted late on March 15th that if he's afraid to fight, he'll agree to use only his left hand, and he's not even left-handed, signing off with the name Ilana. Now, from what we're seeing, it looks like the war of tweets is getting interesting. But what could Elon Musk be aiming at? At press time, Musk also appeared to have changed his username on Twitter to Elon Musk, and Musk has not offered specific details about how or where a fight with Putin would take place. In the meantime, Musk is helping Ukraine by sending shipments of SpaceX Starlink internet systems to the country. The Starlink app topped the download charts in Ukraine amid fears that internet services would be disrupted by the Russian invasion. But why are there claims that the U.S. will destroy Russia? Well, the Russians are in trouble, and they know it. That's why they have reached out to China for help and why they're now recruiting Syrians. Russian generals are running out of time, ammunition, and manpower. That's not based on any inside intelligence, it's just clear from open source information. This could be way off, but we can never know. An essential caveat to this observation is that the West, led by the U.S., must accelerate and expand the support they're providing to Ukraine on the scale and with the sense of urgency of the Berlin airlift. They need the weapons and ammunition to destroy the rockets, cruise missiles, and long-range artillery that are causing most of the damage to Ukrainian cities, as well as the intelligence to locate those systems and the ability to hit Russian Navy vessels that are launching cruise missiles into cities from the Black Sea and the Azov Sea. And the time challenge for Russia is not just military. The effects of sanctions are growing, and Russia may soon default on $150 billion of foreign currency debt. The Russian domestic resentment is also growing. We should remember that it's unusual as well as extremely brave for ordinary people to protest in Putin's Russia, and for television editors to suddenly interrupt their own programs waving anti-war placards. Well, maybe people should do all they can to fuel that discontent and to let courageous Russians know that they have support from different parts of the world as they protest against the war. Now, the Russians are experiencing ammunition shortages. Their transition to attrition warfare is driving up consumption rates beyond what they'd planned and what they can sustain. They'll still have a lot of conventional artillery and so-called dumb bombs, but as we know from past U.S. military operations, the most sophisticated munitions are very expensive and so much more limited in availability. The Russians are likely to be having the same experience. In addition, they thought the campaign would end within a few days, so large stocks were probably not prepared. Wartime consumption always exceeds planning numbers, and urban combat aggravates that. Sanctions will have also made the situation worse. Finland and Slovenia used to provide some munitions to Russia, and those have now stopped. The Pentagon has said that 50% of Russian combat power was committed in Ukraine. At the height of the United States wars in Iraq and Afghanistan, the country's combat power was about 29% committed, and it was difficult to sustain that. This plays directly into the discussion of the encirclement of Kyiv. Russia does not have the manpower or firepower to encircle the Ukrainian capital, let alone capture it. It's a very large, dense major urban center on the banks of one of Europe's largest rivers. It's a difficult, complex urban terrain. The Ukrainians are going to be able to keep it open and prevent encirclement, especially if they can get the flow of weapons and ammunition up to the levels needed. There will be, unfortunately, increasing attacks on the city by air and ground systems, and many more innocent Ukrainian citizens will be murdered, injured, or displaced. But at the end of it all, the city might not fall. Well, Russia's dilemma is only worsened by its combat casualties. U.S. sources suggest that the number of Russian casualties could possibly be in the 5,000 to 6,000 range, and the numbers of wounded is much higher. The modern battlefield is extremely lethal, especially for poorly trained or disciplined soldiers. These are very high numbers for just the first 2 weeks of war, and many come from Russia's elite units who are hard to replace, and the Kremlin won't be able to conceal these losses from the Russian public and all those for long. There have also been reports of low morale, dissension between commanders, mutiny on at least one vessel, desertion, and so many other things that all within the first 2 weeks are indicators of major manpower problems. And in pure numbers, the Ukrainian armed forces still outnumber or closely match Russian forces actually on the ground in Ukraine. Now, there's no suggestion that the Russians have big units lurking in the woods somewhere, and the Pentagon has said it sees no signs of significant reinforcements. So it's apparent that the notional 900,000 strength of the Russian military is a hollow number. Their public call for 16,000 troops from Syria and elsewhere indicates this. Employment of stop-loss by Russia on conscripts whose time is about up is another indicator. The Ukrainian diaspora is flocking home to help the fight, whereas Russians are not coming back home. And indeed, many are leaving to avoid Putin's fight. And there's now an opportunity to aggravate their manpower problem. The next intake of conscripts into the Russian army is on April the 1st, when around 130,000 Russian families are required to send their sons aged between 18 to 25 to conscription centers where they will be inducted into the Russian army as privates. Well, the rest of the world can manage to influence that next intake by using a combination of human outreach as well as cyber and technical means to bypass the Russian blackout on journalism and social media. Millions of Ukrainians, Georgians, Germans, Poles, Lithuanians, Latvians, and Estonians and Finns have friends, family, business contacts, employees, and customers in Russia. They should be reaching out to them directly. Lithuanians have already launched a campaign along these lines. If some percentage of those families resist joining those thousands of Russians who are already showing the courage to protest, that would send shockwaves across Russia. And with that, Putin's war will be significantly crippled. Coupled up with the West's military aid to Ukraine, Russia won't be able to keep up with the war. And just like that, the U.S. will have destroyed Russia. Well, what do you think about it? Let us know via the comments section. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. Stay safe, and we'll see you next time.